Yeah, exactly. So we found a way to utilize both fandom-made creepy things as a way of paying homage to the fandom itself. Like, obviously, we want this to feel as canon as possible and use the already existing franchises. But the fandom itself has created their own characters that have lasted throughout pop culture in and of themselves. So it felt like a waste to not honor some of that, right? So that's how they're here. They've been integrated exactly like that. And from the UK side of the spectrum, we have Supersonic, which I also do the voice of.
Sonic, I think you need a Snickers.
No Snickers, what? I'm always hungry for death.
Make that 2 Snickers.
You're an embarrassment, Fox! So yeah, obviously, if you aren't aware, there is a UK Sonic comic that ran on throughout the 90s called Sonic the Comic. Within it, it had its own set of characters and lore. They decided to do a lot of different things with the lore. Supersonic is not a good guy. Supersonic in this universe was basically an evil alternate. Sonic never wanted to transform into Supersonic in this universe. It always meant destruction. And he always hated it the moment he transformed back. So in this universe, it was caused by either extreme stress or chaos energy exposure. Usually, not really a good thing. There's the comic panel of him literally in the middle of a bar brawl, and as it ramps up, he tries to keep the peace, but it just doesn't work out for him. He rages out and becomes Supersonic and wrecks everyone in the bar. So, not exactly a good force. Maybe somebody should put a stop to that. Enter our second protagonist, Techno the Canary. She is a character. She is. Enter Techno the Canary. She is basically our second protagonist for the film. Our way of introducing people to the European Sonic comics with a character that felt just kind of unlikely. She's a genius inventor, total dork, and a freedom fighter in training, essentially. Her relationship with Amy is rainbow-filled, and she would love nothing more than to fight crime side by side with her and the rest of the freedom fighters of her universe. So when her universe's Sonic gets taken and used for his supersonic powers, she and her partner in crime, Short Fuse the Cybernetic, who is a mobile squirrel trapped inside a robotic body of armor created by somebody. I don't know who. Bernie on the street told me something. Anyway, so yeah, they go in, they try to help the Prime Universe against this giant threat of villains and hopefully save their universe's Sonic as well. That's essentially our plot. But the question is, how? Like, how are you going to do all this? This seems so ambitious. You guys are the most delusional fans alive, and you're right! Yes, we are! Yes, I am, more specifically. How do we do all this? This seems like a lot of characters to keep track of, a lot of universes to keep track of. You know, we're all for fan service, but fan service is nothing without a big story, right? Well, okay. We found a little theme. Our theme for this whole thing ended up becoming something really poignant. I would argue it's self-worth. So, the theme of self-worth carries throughout the entire thing. Every key character within our narrative is struggling or grappling with the idea of self-image or how they're perceived by other people. Whether it's Amy trying to be a better leader after the events of Forces and feeling like things might be a little too much for her. Sonic himself not being able to beat these villains after being on such a high from having succeeded so many times before. If he can't protect his friends with his speed, what is he? And Techno herself. I'm sorry, a little bit of a cough. Villainy, it's hard work. And Techno herself, she herself is just innately very insecure. Her inventions don't always go the way they plan. They often blow up in her face figuratively and literally. So everyone is struggling with something. Even Sleeping Dingo from the villain side. They're a little insecure about being low-tier bounty hunters. They never caught those hedgehogs. So maybe if they capture and kill Sonic Prime, they'll be successful. They'll be the best bounty hunters ever, right? So everyone in a way is still trying to prove their worth. Eventually, throughout the journey, though, the idea is that they all, in one way or another, learn to love each other and learn that they do matter. You know, the idea that everything here matters is something that carries throughout the entire theme of this film. Every one of these shows, every one of these games, every one of these books, they all matter because they matter to somebody. And we just wanted to carry that message forward throughout the entire production. That's what this story is built on. Why? Why do any of this? Why go through all this effort to create a giant hour-and-a-half flick about all these characters trying to punch and kick each other in the face? Why go through all this? Well, I think it's a bit more personal than that. So here's me. Little me, about 5 years old, I'd say. I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, and I was always a theater kid, I guess you could say. I was always, the moment I found out how to draw, I just kept drawing. And the moment I could mimic a character on a screen, Jiminy Cricket, for example, you would not believe how many times I tried to jump down a flight of stairs with an umbrella in the hopes that I would float. I'm surprised I didn't break anything. But anyway, yeah, you know, I was always a very gregarious kid, and my parents were always very supportive in everything that I did. Every creative venture I dared to try. They supported me 100%. On top of the fact that I just love this franchise. I came into it at a point where some would say it might be the dark age of the character's history. You know, it was 2005, and we know what was going to happen the year afterwards. But I was so young, I didn't know what quality control was. I just saw a cool hedgehog go fast. You know? So I fell in love with all of it, and I think my willingness and my openness to just explore every aspect of this franchise is what got me to this point where I love everything. I don't really care exactly what it is, what story directions they take, what they do with the characters. At a core, it all still feels somewhat connected, like a multiverse of sorts. You know? So those are kind of the building blocks. Inspiration-wise, we have a few things. You don't like Spider-Verse? You don't like The Amazing World of Gumball?
Hey.
Like Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Hey.
Obvious choices. I love crossovers. I love giant crossovers. I love meshing different art styles together to see what, and just telling a story out of it. It always fascinated me with movies like Roger Rabbit and Space Jam and Looney Tunes Back in Action and all that stuff. Just the meshing of different mediums. You got live action and you have animation. And then Gumball just had, some characters are 2D, some characters are literally a ball of clay, some characters are a T-Rex. You know, I love visual chaos like that, and yet still somehow managing to make a story that mattered and that felt good for people. All of those, you know, inspire me to kind of create the story that we're telling here. So it just felt kind of natural to dig from those places. Among other things, there's so many inspirations for this thing, and I think that's why I've gone on for as long as I have. We've been in development for 5 years, and I don't feel any bit tired. I'm so excited, constantly, because I'm constantly filling my head with more ideas, with more fun stuff to do. Our project in itself is sort of a giant crossover. You know, most of the people within this convention are working on this thing in one way or another. We kind of have almost everybody here. The attempt is to try and capture every single artist within the convention hall and just bring them under our umbrella. And that's the idea, just assimilate. So, you know, we have Belena Productions. He's on the project voicing a character. We have Techno Cinema and the Adrenaline Dubs crew. They were some of the first people we cast. I actually started like building the idea for this project around the time Adrenaline Dubs was just kicking off. So in a lot of ways, we all kind of started at around similar points. So I guess in a way, it almost kind of felt natural that we all found each other. We also have a few people in the audience that aren't necessarily part of this panel, like Ruby Gray over here. She'll be the voice of Mama Robotnik from the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon within our story. We're absolutely honored to have her. She is such a delight of a person. You can find her over at our table over there when this is all done, as well as just around the convention center. We also have Ghost Banjo over here. She's the voice of essentially Eggman's vehicle of transportation within this film. We call it the Deviled Egg. It's a giant flying carton of eggs that holds all the villains together so that when it's time to start battling Sonic and beating him to a pulp, they basically just have their own built-in Uber. And the ultimate reason I'm doing this is just because I love this fandom. You know, I love the franchise, of course, but I love the fandom. You know, never have I seen a community so passionate, so driven for 30 plus years straight for this one character. You know, kids, teenagers, adults, it all matters to people. And I think, you know, if you're anyone on social media, it can be hard to kind of feel as though your opinion matters on anything regarding this character, because there's so many different opinions. This character, I started playing Sonic with Sonic Rush. That is not a 90s game, that is a 2000s game. So I was introduced at a very particularly odd point, and a lot of people were. So of course there's going to be so many different opinions on how Sonic should be. He should be like this, no, he should be like that, because we all grew up with him at different points. So I think what we want to do with this film is we're bringing all these characters and all these parts of the franchise together to say that, you know, you should never forget or feel as though your version of Sonic or what you grew up with Sonic-wise doesn't matter, because it does. You know why it matters? I think it's pretty obvious. It's because you matter. That's what this film's message is. This film's message is you matter. You're the reason this character even exists in the first place, no matter what incarnation. So hold on to the version of Sonic you love. It doesn't matter whether it's discontinued or it's still going or whatever have you. Keep spreading that love. It matters because you matter. You know, keep that alive. So that's what we're doing here with this movie. We're saying you're important. That's basically it. So yeah, you know, we've been working hard getting to this point. Just flying all the way down here and getting ourselves all situated has been an incredibly fun but very hectic journey. I must have been doing something in between all that, you know? Well, we have a little something. We have another trailer to share with you guys. This one, a little more in depth than our little 30-second one. The only reason that one was 30 seconds is because it was for the 30th anniversary. So now, not particularly attached to any core anniversary. We just wanted to do something a little more story focused. So this one goes into the idea of the multiverse of Sonics and kind of the perils our characters will be going through. And you'll be seeing some familiar faces. Keep in mind, obviously, this is a small screen. It's a little hard for everybody to see. So we will be uploading this trailer shortly after this convention is done. So you'll be able to see it on our social medias, on our YouTube, at Sonic Villains, our Twitter, at Sonic Villains. It'll be all there for you, with maybe a another extra scene that we didn't get to finish on the way. Keep in mind, this is still work in progress, so some sequences aren't entirely finished just yet.
Everybody here? Thinking everybody can make sure
Yeah.
the audio here.
Trying to reach the peak of the audio here. Try the microphone. Sure, sure.
Y'all hear it okay?
I can hear it.
Massive shout outs to everyone who helped work on this trailer. Ryan for that incredible Amy. You'll see the full sequence eventually later down the line. I love the sequence that was a part of. She knocked it out the park. I felt like I needed to catch up. We've been doing this project for so long. My first recordings were on my phone, and now, it wasn't the best quality. It felt like I was I was talking in a highway or something. We've grown and evolved so much throughout this project, and I just want to thank every single person for believing in this vision and just believing in us. That Sonic.exe sequence at the end, that was like 4 or 5 pixel animators at once that we managed to bring on, and they've done absolutely incredible work bringing the creepiness to Sonic.exe, and I'm really excited to keep working with them to deliver on some really fun sequences. Thanks to the cast that couldn't make it. Just, you guys will be watching this. Just thank you. I love y'all. Y'all are so fun. You inspire me every single day. You'll know that, right? Do I need to say something? Do I need to wait? You're amazing, okay? Okay.
No, you!
No, you! We're gonna be doing this all day. Shout out to my girlfriend. I love you. Thank you for being so supportive in my crazy dream, and I want to be supportive in yours. Thanks to my mom and dad for letting me even journey out here just to be with y'all to talk about Blue Rat. Thank you guys for coming to Sonic Villains at Sonic Revolution 2023.
In that case, I believe we should be able to get my audience questions. Yes.
Regarding the film, we'll just...
Absolutely. And I'll just move the mic over to y'all. Just raise your hand. All right. Decisions. I'm gonna get you over here first.
So regarding the film,
Will we be expecting Team Chaotix to play a role in this series? If so, what?
Oh, Team Chaotix, absolutely. So we're picking up after Forces canonically within the story. So if you know anybody from that game, Team Chaotix is included, they will absolutely have a hand in this plot in one way or another. The idea is to give everybody, something to do. This is a big multiversal threat, and there's a lot of things at stake. There's a reason we have to call out here, specifically. That doesn't usually happen unless something involving a lot of chaos is going on. So they'll be helping their boy Knuckles track down chaos and hopefully, hopefully they won't get too jacked up in the process. Thank you so much for the question.
You're welcome.
Get you over here.
So obviously you said that you've been working on the project for a while, and I know that a lot of the Sonic mythos over the time you've been working on it has changed. And I wanted to ask a question on a certain Sonic continuity. Could we possibly see any hints in the movie towards IDW, possibly?
Oh, sure.
One of the
Yeah,
key
so
words
it's
not working, maybe you can
fascinating
help with
about
that. Set your aiming.
IDW. IDW literally, they literally announced it just as we were starting production. Just as I was booting everything up, Archie had just been canceled, and I think once the Archie comics were canceled, that was already a sort of an instant push to be like, okay, I want to give these characters some sort of a conclusion that we didn't get. So right already that lit a fire under me right then and there. Then IDW came in, and I didn't want to initially include any major antagonists from IDW because we didn't really know any of them at the time. Rough and Tumble were the only ones we really knew of at first, and Starline came in a little bit afterwards. So I think for us, now that, like you said, canon has been changing a lot lately, in a lot of ways. In one way or another, IDW is canon now. So, I think it's safe to say that we're not opposed to referencing anything IDW at all. You'll definitely see some. Our storyboard artists are deliberately trying to put in certain characters at certain points, so it'll be a fun little Easter egg game to be like, oh, there's that person, oh, there's that person, wait, that person, what? So it's fun. We made a little game out of it of spot the IDW character. Just because we couldn't properly get them into the main story. We were definitely thinking about them throughout the entirety of this thing.
Alrighty.
Alright. For those listening, shout out to Paulie B doing part of the concert right now.
Yeah, thank you, Paul.
Are you gonna do Team Dark all together?
Team Dark together. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about Team Dark and their efforts as a team, hasn't there? Whether or not they're really that tight of one. For my money, it's just more fun to have them be a team. Just the dynamic of Shadow, Rouge, and Omega. It's just fun. It's so much fun. Especially when you have Omega in the mix. He does not care about anything. He likes to blow stuff up. And it's fun to watch Rouge and maybe even Shadow try to tell him, no, don't blow stuff up just yet, please. Yet. He'll get it as a treat later. So yeah, absolutely.
Alright.
Will you add Sonic.e to Sonic Villains?
Oh, we're talking about other .exe interpretations. So interesting thing about that. The fun thing about conceptualizing this version of .exe is that, again, we brought him on because he represents the fan community. He represents Sonic fans, and the massive community that's come out of Sonic.exe as a character is amazing. There's so many different versions of that character, like the one you mentioned. So the funny thing is, those pixel animations you saw, a lot of them are from the creators of different .exe iterations. So we've come together, like if you've seen any from Friday Night Funkin' that you like, or from any particular fan game that you like, they're probably in here somewhere because we're deliberately trying to work with those creators of those versions of that character and lumping them together into our version of Sonic.exe. So our version of EXE is basically every version, essentially. Yeah, additional one?
I'll go right on you.
Well, you also had an ad Hog the Hedgehog.
Knowing smile. Knowing smile. I see why Egan likes doing that, yeah. It's fun.
We got a person over here.
Is there going to be a reference to stage?
I'm sorry?
Is there going to be a reference to stage in
Sage? A reference to Sage being in the film. Never say never. That's the thing about our project is that, again, I said our options are never zero, and the fun thing is we've situated ourselves to where we're a story that now exists in between forces and frontiers. So that gives us a lot of room to kind of maybe play around with, like, you know, potential nods here and there. We're actively looking for like ways to kind of like imply certain things. Like any connection to the Starfall Islands, we obviously have Chaos and Tikal and Knuckles there, and we know how involved they were in that story. So, you know, one way or another, we're actively looking for ways to include, you know, references to maybe Sage or the Starfall Islands or, you know, the Titans or anything like that, because they exist as a part of Sonic's lore now. And the thing is, Frontier's story has actually made my job as a writer a lot easier because now I know where these characters are going to end up. So now, with that in mind, I can kind of take the plot beats and the character development that I've had in store and just kind of gear it towards what you see in Frontiers. So, no, nothing concrete just yet, but our options are never zero.
I see a couple hands raised. I know this person over here's had their hand raised for a while, so I'll let
Is it too late to join the team creator? If not, how would you suppose someone?
Oh, to join the team for the film itself?
Yes.
Oh no, it's never too late. We are always looking for other artists to help out. The idea is that again, I love the meshing of different art styles and different ideas to the table. I think that's what makes a really fun, rich, beautiful film that represents the fandom at large. So we're always looking for new folks to come along. If you want to submit like any artwork to us to kind of show what you can do, or a demo reel for voice acting or whatever have you, our DMs for Sonic Villains on Twitter are open. You can also email me at arianrashad, which is just my full name, @gmail.com, and submit what you have there, and I'll absolutely take a look at it.
I see this person first. All right, there you go.
Hey, if you have interest in being a voice actor, have you got any advice on how you can learn more about it?
Oh, voice. There's so many. Luckily for us, thanks to social media, there's so many great avenues now. I can say to you, just being a part of a community full of a ton of great voice actors. I met these guys just because of naturally what they were doing on their own pages, on their social media pages. There's tons of resources. There's the site Casting Call Club. They have little workshops that you can participate in. That'll get you. They go on different topics. Involving how to get into the industry, or how to create a proper demo reel. All sorts of fun topics. So Casting Call Club is definitely a site to look for. It's also obviously a site where you get to audition for a lot of projects. That's where a lot of projects openings are. And of course, I always like looking at interviews from my favorite voice actors. If you have any favorite voice actors that you like, try and find some interviews of them on YouTube. More than likely, they've done a lot of conventions just like this one, where they get asked questions. They'll be happy to get the answers. I know that's how I started with a lot of my favorite artists. So it absolutely all the same applies.
Right, I got two people over here. I'll let you go first. Now you go first. So I'll go and pass it on.
So my question is, in general, would you guys consider Sonic an anime character? Because he is created in Japan and stuff like that. Like sometimes I see so much of the American fan base more than the Japanese fan base. So it confused. I almost forget that he's basically an anime character.
Yeah. Then again, the thing about Sonic is that he's everything. He's had his foot in so many different cultures. Obviously, he originated from Japan. He started off there. He's the main studio that works on the games and everything else. All the decisions primarily go through the Japanese side of things. I would argue that, yeah, he absolutely is, because that's a part of his DNA as a character. Japanese culture is infused into his design because, those are the people that designed him, so for sure. Obviously, you're going to see a lot of the American side because it is a well-known fact that Sonic is more popular in America and in the UK than in Japan. So even if he was created there, he's not exactly the most well-known over there. So, I'd say, yeah, he's an anime character, he is a cartoon character, he is a British comic strip, he is an executable file, he's all of those things. Because that's just, with a franchise this big, yeah, he's everything. He's absolutely an anime character. Sonic X or not.
This person over here, cosplay.
Thank you. So I had a question. You guys do voice acting too, right? And I was wondering, could you tell me the most favorite voice one you liked and the most least favorite you hated or regret?
As far as sessions of voice acting we've done, just by ourselves, our least favorite or most fun memory. I think for me, just in general, just voicing Eggman is just fun. I don't know if there's any particular moment, but just voicing him is always a blast. Just the fact that I can even touch Mike Pollock's register for that voice at all is still a miracle to me. So anytime I get to do it is always a blast. And obviously I also write for a lot of voice actors, so I think for me, getting to work with these guys on stuff is just fun. I want to always make sure that I give the best direction I can. I always want to make sure that if there's any questions, I want them to ask them. I just want to make sure that they're having as much fun as I am making this thing. So it's the whole thing about voice acting is fun for me. But how about you guys? What's your favorite? Start with Ryan.
I love voicing all the characters that I voice. Techno is a new character for me. I don't see that many people voicing her, so Ariana gave me a great opportunity to voice her. She's a lot of fun, just very energetic and just yeah, And there's nothing I really hate with what I do. There's hasn't been an instance. I just love bringing these characters to life. Sorry.
I don't necessarily have a particular favorite. I just love being able to voice each and every character, each and every opportunity. I am humbled and grateful for to be able to bring these characters to life and be like, that's me, that's you right there. One of the funniest memories, though, I will have to share is when I first started practicing voice acting. This was in between 8th grade and 9th grade, so transition from junior high to high school. I was starting to read the Sonic comics out loud, testing my range. So I was reading it Sonic, and then up into Tails, and then Amy, of course, and just trying to do all these different voices and testing my range, And at one point, I was doing a specific comic reading. It was an Archie comic, I remember. It was the one where the Bad Bunny, Back to the Bunny, if you remember that one.
The one with the cover of Cream riding the motorcycle, Shadow's motorcycle.
I love that one because I just love Shadow's line, that little smirk.
Treasure Team Tango, yes, that's fine.
So I love doing that one, but I was reading it one time, and of course, I'm not really doing a setup, I'm just reading the comics for practice, and I'm voicing as Knack the Weasel, aka Fang, and I'm going on a huge tangent because they had just blown up his bike. And he's like, "How dare you blow up my bike?" And as soon as I scream, my dad walks in the room, looks at me, I look at him, I fall to the ground laughing because I was just yelling and raving, and then I just see him, he looks at me, doesn't say anything, just watches me, and then closes the door again, like, "You saw me doing something!" So, definitely a funny moment, it was incredible. But yeah, just every voice that I get an opportunity to do, I'm just so humbled and grateful. I haven't necessarily had a chance to voice her just yet for something again. It's been a while. But of course, Tangled, if you do the IDW, I love to do her voice because it's so bouncy and exciting. It's so much fun! So that's something I hope to do someday. But yeah, and I pass it over to you.
Gosh, that's hard. I think like everybody here, it's really hard to say if there's a favorite opportunity. I think the opportunities I get most excited for when acting is when I have to really push myself as an actor. If I have this very emotional scene, if I have things, I come to enjoy horror, so I enjoy acting in horror, so things like exploring feelings you've never felt, but also bringing to light things being an authentic human. So opportunities to express yourself in ways that you can't, or shed light on the human life, what it is to be human, is an amazing opportunity. So that's one of my favorite things of acting.
I think we're about ready to wrap up. I think. Yes. All right. So, all right. Thank y'all for coming to the Sonic Notes panel. Round of applause for our guests here. And let me see here. Let me check the schedule real quick to.
Can we get the volume down just a little bit for the concert?
Anyway, let's see here. We got the Chaos Creators panel. There's Joby right up there. Right now, Phoenix. All right. So that concludes this panel. Stay tuned. We'll be starting the Chaos Creators panel very shortly.
Thank you, guys. Try the eggnog. It's delicious.
So glad to be here, man. Nice to
Hi, Andy.
I know the hedgehog. Yes, sir. He does a lot of really good WMC. Yeah, just code the hedgehog. Yeah, code. Like, you get a code.
Yes.
Whenever you're ready, we're ready for
Just finished our panel.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, we can upload
Hall
it.
A, it's like the it's a little hall like right behind the bathroom.
Absolutely. So I just mapped it down right now. We're about to go back to our our main hall. Got stuff to sign, everything like that. We'll be sharing pictures all across the world on Twitter and everything. So you'll see all the stuff that we've been